But then again, who's going to win the Heisman? Who's the clear front runner right now? Is it Caleb? I know Caleb, like, he played better, but he still didn't play great. It's between Penix, Caleb Williams. Jaden Daniels is playing well. Maybe he can backdoor his way back into the conversation. But right now, it's not a clear cut. It's not clear cut who's going to win the freaking Heisman at
It's
all.
gonna sound so biased, so I apologize. But Jaden's making a very good case for himself. I mean, yeah, it's Army, but he played well against Army. The offense has generated over 500 yards in 7 consecutive games. Unfortunately, those 2 bad losses to FSU and Ole Miss are what ding him. But in terms of what he is doing on his side of the ball, he's been fantastic. I saw them comparing him to Joe Burrow from a pace and numbers perspective last night. So I think if we get this kind of wacky year where all the front runners continue just be mid, and if LSU can at least, like you said offline, either get to Atlanta at 10-2 or at the worst 9-3, that would give him a very good shot, because again, we've just seen so many of these front runner types just not have good games, which is very strange in a college football season.
If Jaden Daniels can get LSU to Atlanta and continues to play well, I think he has a very legitimate shot to win the Heisman. Shub, at this current junction, based on what you've seen, if you had to take, you were gun to your head, you're forced to take a flyer for the Heisman winner, who would you take at this moment in time?
Well, if I had to take a flyer for betting purposes strategically, or just who I think is going to end up winning it with no money.
Who's going to win it? Who's going to win it?
I hate to give this answer, but I legitimately don't know. I legitimately don't know, because I see a path for all these players to potentially win it, but it's so dependent on how your team does and how your national perception
absolutely, Shu. But that's why I posed the question and I prefaced it with, there's a gun to your head. Make a pick.
I don't know. I'm going to have to sit here for 10 minutes and think about it, because I legitimately don't know. I mean, listen, the odds right now,
I don't think the
DraftKings,
hostage taker is going to like that, but
if I had a gun to my head, then I'd be dead, because I legitimately can't think. I don't think there is anybody that I think in my mind oh yeah, they are going to win the Heisman right now. The front runner is JJ McCarthy. Do you guys realize that JJ McCarthy right now is the odds-on favorite to win the Heisman on the sports books? JJ McCarthy. So that's
JJ
why
McCarthy
I'm dead.
Wins, that is an absolute travesty.
Well, guess what, man? They're
travesty.
He's the odds-on leader on DraftKings right now. That's why I said I'd be dead if someone put a gun to my head, because right now it's JJ McCarthy according to the sports books.
If he wins, that just shows that all you have to do is play a bunch of community colleges with a 5-star roster, and then you'll be the Heisman.
But listen, if you want my advice as someone that covers college football, is do not bet on JJ McCarthy, because what if he craps the bed versus Penn State and Ohio State, which is the only 2 games that people are going to care about that Michigan plays. All of a sudden, that's becomes a terrible bet. This is why I legitimately don't know who's going to win. For all I know,
it's
Carson
not
Beck
McCarthy.
can win.
There's no way.
It could be Carson Beck for all we know. Carson Beck's 35-1 right now. But if Georgia's the only team that's undefeated at the end of the year, and Carson Beck just has good stats, which he does, and everyone else is losing games, it could be Carson Beck.
If he didn't get hurt, that Travis Hunter hype would be just beyond the roof right now.
Oh, I would protest if Travis Hunter won it.
No, I'm not saying it's deserved, but I'm saying the whole, he plays 2 sides of the ball. Over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns, Moss catches, an interception. For writers who don't watch the games, who look at score, box scores and stats, oh my gosh, and with the Dion hype, he'd be in New York.
Do you think, and this is me, a little Homer Hope, that's what I like to call this, Homer Hope. If Ollie Gordon continues his dominance and just finishes with 100 yards plus in every game the rest of the season with the tutty, you think he's got a shot, especially if everyone continues to struggle? Ollie Gordon, the first 3 games of the season, only had 10 total carries, and he's already at 800 yards. It's crazy.
Ollie Gordon's in the mix now on DraftKings. He's in the same realm as Blake Corum, DJU, Kyle McCord, Jalen Milroe, Sam Hartman, Roma Dunze. That's the neighborhood that Ollie's in.
I think if Ahmad Williams for Boston College can be a dark horse, I absolutely believe Ollie Gordon can.
Fair point.
That's so much.
Listen, I wanted to give you an answer to that question, Zan, but then I went on DraftKings and saw JJ McCarthy is the betting leader right now. And I'm like, yeah, I can't give an answer based on what I've seen. Like, I legitimately can't.
That's fair enough, Shu. Well, let's go ahead and move on.
Which is telling.